Hi, Carol here. Welcome to my craft room. We're going to use the Alterations flower die and the Heartfelt Creations die to show you some no stylus flower creations. And here I'm going to take some of the distress glaze on this flower that I had made in the last tutorial that did not show up because it was deleted. And I wanted to restore this flower because I didn't want that dry look. So I wanted to moisturize the actual flower, and that's what I did with the Tim Holtz glaze. It moisturizes your skin too, so just rub it in. And here, remember I got that I received Happy Mail from Janet, and it had a card from Simon Says stamp with their information on it. It was quite thick, so I wanted to use that. I wanted to use some vellum and some 6x6 thinner flower power cardstock, and I wanted to show you something here. This sheet that I had from Simon Says Stamp has on the outside it's a plastic covering. It is it does not penetrate water, but I wanted to get it on the inside so I could separate the two pieces to create a vintage flower. And that's exactly what you can do if you have anything that's delivered to you that has some sort of coating on it that you seem like you can't penetrate through. Well, it will separate in half, and they make wonderful, wonderful flowers. And then just do your water saturation after you've pulled the dry flower apart. I started it with a bit of water to seep through the top so that I could separate it, and then add more water to fold back the pieces. You don't want to throw out anything when you get mail. There's so much that can be done with it that you don't have to actually use your stash card stock or your 6x6 pads. Look how beautiful this folds on either side. I wanted to take the time to show you this flower, and right here I ended up cutting off the flower. I didn't have enough of the square of this actual sheet that was delivered to me, but it didn't matter because I knew I was going to fold it over and you weren't going to see all of the flower petals. So it really served a wonderful purpose to just take this sheet that had this coating on it, almost like it went through your laminator. It was a really thick coating, but you know what? If you can slide a stylus, or I'm sorry, your pokey tool in between, oh yes, you're going to get a flower. So here's my distress stain. Now this is really, really a pungent type stain. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Look how it is. You put it on the inside of the separated flowers, and it will work its way out with that water you ended up squirting inside there. It'll work its way out so you have these beautiful floral veins that stand out in the centers. It's absolutely beautiful. So I thought I would just share this first before I get to the no stylus flowers. And you're not using a stylus on this either. I took the other piece that was cut out of the Tim Holtz die, and I separated it completely because this way I can use it as a 2-layer flower over top. I grabbed this beautiful tattered rose. I pat. What did I do there? I'm keeping this in the video. Oh yeah, this is real, folks. This flower, I wanted to make sure that I had at least 4 layers, but I wanted them to not all be the same size, right? So I cut a circle out of the center by folding it in half, and then I added some hot glue and brought it over so that I would have a smaller center. And I did the same to the next one, cutting it out like that out of the center, folding it over with the hot glue, adding this one to the back because it had those beautiful purple veins. And look at there, I'm just going to hold it for a minute. If I can get my finger off there. And then I put it on the inside, pressing it down, and you have yourself a beautiful vintage flower. Now I'm going to take this rolled one that we cut apart and made 2 layers out of, and we're going to just pat it all towards the center, and look at there. Isn't it gorgeous? You have all different colors of that purple, and now I'm going to grab the stain and I'm going to deepen that burgundy right up, and it is going to make a beautiful flower for one of my canvas works that I'm going to be working on for my giveaway. I added some diamond bling on here and I'm going to shape it. And then right here, after I add some more of the stain and I wipe down the center of the diamond so that it wasn't wet. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love looking at it. I take my heat tool somewhere coming up here. I grab my heat tool and I mold it with the heat going towards the center, because I know when it dries, it will stay firm. It will stay in the position that I heat set it in. And now I'm taking these beautiful gems. Oh, I love this thing. And you just add, it's like dew. It's like putting little drops of dew on your flowers with these. I just showed it 2 seconds ago, but I was gabbing, so I didn't get the name of it, but I will mention it after the video. How's that? So look at that. You've got those little drops of dew all the way around your flowers right there. And this is the flat flower. And here you have this beautiful flower. And it came from a package that Janet gave me that probably you would have thrown out and or stored it for advertising, so you knew, where to order from, whatever. But here's where I take the heat tool. I go all the way around to curl up the sides, and when I take it away, it is going to dry firm like this, and it's not going to wilt down on me. It is going to stay just as beautiful as when I created it. Yes. So here we go. We're going to move on, and I think you're really going to love looking for stuff in the mail. Look at this beautiful flower. I love it. It looks so delicate and crisp. And you can also, especially if you make vellum flowers, which I'm going to make next, you could put those in the oven at about 200 degrees for about 15 minutes, and they will come out looking vintage and crisp looking as well. And now I just wipe it off this emboss piece that we did the other day in another tutorial. I'm going to make a card out of that. But there's 2 flowers. Look at that one. I want to get a close-up on this. Oh, I love it. Yes, and it keeps it firm because it had that almost a laminate over top of that card that was sent with the order. Okay, here we go. Well, let's get out our measuring spoons. Here's what takes place of your stylus. Oh yes, measuring spoons. Any size. It depends on which flower dye you're going to use here. I decided to keep out, oh, there it is, Vim. Patty, you wanted to see it. I had so many people ask me what Vim looks like. This is Vim. It takes everything off your stamps, off your hands, off your desk. Yes, I had purple everywhere, and I just squirted a little bit of Vim and it was gone. Now, let's figure out what size I'm going to use. And I took my powder tool with the lid on it to push it down. Find something that you can push your flower, your paper flower, down into the teaspoon. This was a half teaspoon, and I'm just pushing them in. Look, how quick is this? Almost that quick. And I wanted to show you something here. Look at, I'm going crazy. Yeah. Then you push the center, and then you can add liquid, like spray it. But I want to show you this. It does not come up as well if it's wet. So I'm going to encourage you to keep it dry. When you mold your flowers here with the measuring spoons, keep it dry. Take your flower, I'm going to show you close up here. See how it's just one size smaller than the petal. So this would be a half a teaspoon. And I'm pushing it in, and then I'm pushing the center, and you've got yourself a flower. Look at, I know I sped it up, but I only sped it up a little bit. Now we're going to move along, and I'm going to poke all of these inside the little wee measuring spoons. And these measuring spoons were $1 at the dollar store. Well, you know nothing's $1 at the dollar store, excuse me. They were $1.25, yes. And you're just pushing it in with some type of pusher tool. And for me, it was the anti-static bottle that I used before I emboss. It worked perfect. Now I took the half a teaspoon and I shoved that flour, I cupped it right in there while I'm working. And then I can add my little pieces while it's sitting and molding itself into the little half a teaspoon right there. And then I shove it in and it is staying exactly how I want it shaped. I like to work with these when I use the teaspoon dry. I don't like to work with them wet. They're not as pliable, believe it or not. They're just too moist. If you want to mold it after you have it shaped, then you can spray it a little bit, but I prefer to do mine right at the start, perfectly dry. Push it in like this into the spoons, whatever size your flour is, like whatever your die is, and then start molding it after. Isn't that gorgeous? You could do 10 flowers in just 5 minutes. That's how quick it really molds itself into these spoons. So now I grabbed these little fuzzy balls here that I had. I got a whole bunch of them at a thrift store. They're like little round, bunny tails. I put 3 of them in there and spritzed it with my Tim Holtz Distress Stain. Love this stuff. Love the spray stains. Gorgeous. I'm telling you. And look at that. You have yourself another beautiful flower in seconds. Now let's proceed on to vellum. Vellum is wonderful to work with, but it cracks if you use a stylus. It does not crack for me when I put them in the teaspoons. It's wonderful. And this powder tool was perfect with the lid on. It's almost like I ordered this kit. And now I'm cutting it in because I want to take out one of the petals to make it a little smaller on the inside. I used 2 different shapes on here. Look at that. You can cup it right in your hand. I'm telling you, get out those teaspoons. Go to the dollar store where nothing is $1 and buy yourself some little plastic spoons and go crazy. Yes. Look at me go. And just push them into those, mold them into the spoons, and you've got yourself beautiful flowers. Spray it with some Distress Stain. I added white vellum and lined vellum and yellow. See that yellow piece up there? I added that to the back. Grabbed a clear button right there, put it in the center, and I added another piece of the yellow vellum to the back. And look at that. Is that not beautiful? And it takes seconds. Yes, you don't need a stylus because stylus is very hard to work with on vellum, where if you push it into a spoon, you've got beautiful flowers. See you on the next video, everybody. Have a blessed week.